Welcome, friend, to Life and Liberty Radio. I'm David Householder, here to encourage your pursuit of happiness. You and I are partners, exploring our shared spiritual journeys. Together, we're dreaming and working for a free society. Tell others today about our adventure in faith and freedom. So breathe in, open your mind, lift up your spirit. Let's get started. I want you to imagine for a moment that you are living with an extended family in the Middle East in a village. And very quickly you hear a sweeping sound, a buzzing noise, and an explosion. And much of the block where you are living has been ripped apart as rubble and brick and stone is flying all over the place. And people are wounded, and people are crying, and people are yelling. And there's panic, that sudden thud, that concussion, like a car accident where you feel the impact of what's happened. Well, your block has just been hit by a drone. From heaven comes this destruction in a matter of seconds, and you almost sense something's about to hit the second before it hits. There's that sort of empty feeling right before an impact, and you don't have time to adjust. Well, this is happening all over the world, and we are sending drones everywhere because they're cheaper and they're a lot less risk to us. We don't have a pilot on these drones, so nobody can be shot down and no body bag comes back home. And it seems simple. We have people up at Beale Air Force Base in California who sit at the controls and run these machines and are able to see with cameras exactly what the drone sees. Now, you may say, well, hey, we have to keep the country safe, so we have to go after these terrorists. Well, the truth is, our government seems to think that the war now is everywhere. It's domestic, it's foreign, and the battleground is everywhere. And that total sense of war, which has never been the case before, where it's just total everywhere, is what is driving things. Fear is a potent motivator, and politicians use it all the time. We need to be afraid of Iran. We need to be afraid of North Korea. We need to be afraid of these people. So therefore, we need lots of these drones to go flying around in the air and landing on people. The truth is, though, people don't live alone. Nobody lives in a little tent in the middle of a park where we can take them out without hurting anyone else. It's very common to kill lots of people who are then called collateral damage, which is incredibly dehumanizing. And these people die along with the so-called terrorist. Of course, there's no due process here. There's no declaration of war. There is none of that. And of course, anyone could potentially be an enemy of the United States. Where do you draw the line? Someone who's angry with America, someone who doesn't like America. And that person, of course, has a potential to do something. And if anyone has a potential to do something against us, that person's a threat. So we need to take that person out and eliminate the threat. Well, where does that end? I don't think it ends anywhere. Of course, that's part of the plan. And I'm not a conspiracy guy at all. But governments want to become larger and more powerful. That's just their nature. Like any company, like any family, like any person, that's just a natural drive. And in doing so, they want to consolidate power, and the best way to consolidate power is to make you afraid. And the more they can make you afraid, the more they tell you they need to do these things. Well, the truth is, these things don't make us any safer at all, because what they do is they create enemies. I mention this all the time. My favorite cartoon of a man hitting a hornet's nest, and the caption reads, "The more they sting, the more I hit. The more I hit, the more they sting." And so we create more enemies than we eliminate through these drones. And the truth is, our government wanted to reserve the right to use these drones on targets in the United States, because you never know, there might be a threat among us. Well, that, of course, opens a Pandora's box of all kinds of problems. And Senator Rand Paul, did something heroic and patriotic this past week in standing up and for 13 hours filibustering against the use of drones here in the United States, and using it on American targets, and using it during peacetime, and using it against non-combatants. The truth is, When's the last time we saw peacetime? It seems like we're at perpetual war at this point, with no geographical or temporal limitations, and this war has been going on for a long, long time, since the Bush time. And so we have the Bush years and the Obama years will be remembered as the war years, and I think it's going to continue permanently unless we stand up and say, listen, unless the Congress declares war, we're not at war, and we were never designed by the Founding Fathers to be an empire. We were intended to be a republic, and an empire is a power which subjugates foreign powers and creates client kingdoms and those kinds of things, and has lots of troops stationed abroad. Well, we have to do that because the wolf is at the door. Well, no, the wolf is not at the door. Very, 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 very few people hate America just because of America. A lot of people hate America, though, because we've blown up their families. So we need to realize that the basic principle of natural law on which this nation was built is that you never initiate aggression, and you do not punish people for crimes they may commit. That's just completely inappropriate in any international or national or legal setting. You only punish people for crimes they have committed, and you only do so through due process. You see, the Founding Fathers were tired of the Redcoats and didn't want to become the Redcoats, and put something called the Bill of Rights together to ensure that we would never become the Redcoats. But you know what? We have become the Redcoats. We've got a sort of collective Stockholm syndrome going on. Now, Stockholm syndrome is when a captive or a hostage or a kidnapping victim starts to identify with the kidnappers or the terrorists or whoever. And it seems like we're doing that collectively. We're starting to identify with, it's not a Stockholm syndrome really, but we're imitating the terrorists. Well, if they torture, then we have to torture. If they blow things up out of the sky, we blow things up out of the sky. And the truth is, with the drones, we have out-terrorized the terrorists. In other words, we have become the terrorists, much like we have become the Redcoats. Can you imagine at all any weapon more terrorizing than a drone? More designed to strike fear into the hearts of people. These could drop from the sky on your head at any point, anywhere in the world, and you can run, but you can't hide. That is the ultimate in terror. Do you want to live in a terrorist nation? No, neither do I. Do you want to live in a nation that tortures? Of course not. I think we need to get back to the better angels of our nature, as Lincoln would say, and remember the higher ideals to which we are called. This is the call of patriotism. The call of patriotism is not tribal, imperial growth and subjugation of peoples. The call of this nation is to be a republic based on rule of law and based on the fact that we are innocent until proven guilty. And we do not punish people for crimes they might commit in the future, because the truth is, that includes everyone. And that would be the definition of terrorism. So let's cut it out, and let's return to our highest principles, and let's be proud to call ourselves Americans. This concludes episode 50 of my daily podcast. We've been on the air Monday through Friday every single day. We hope that you will join us every day and look for this in the mornings, depending on your time zone. I want to let you know how much I appreciate your listening to this most important message of freedom. I believe that we are called to take another step toward freedom. I believe that we are to live into a spiritually grounded and coercion-free society, and you can be a big part of making that happen. So tell others about the Life and Liberty podcast, and I'll be back here again tomorrow morning. Well, that's all for today on Life and Liberty Radio. Thanks so much for sharing this part of your spiritual journey with me. Now, the views on this program are not necessarily those of my advertisers, sponsors, places I work, or do business with. They're purely my own, but I'm sharing them with you, so share your ideas with me. Write me on Twitter at Liberty House, LIBERTYHOUS, no E. Until next time, let's continue dreaming and working
for a free and spiritually grounded society.